Hey, what's up, y'all? It's your boy Domuto. We back with another video. Today we're watching Smugstick. What if Piccolo got orange early? The finale. And yeah, 43 minute long video. So you know we gotta do what we gotta do. Make sure you get your water, snacks, all that good shit. And then you know what I'm saying, come on, let's finish up this journey of this great story. Let me know what y'all want me to watch next. I think I got one lined up to watch next. It's a new channel to check out. Somebody recommended, so we'll do that. But any other stories, of course, I'm gonna watch it because I'm kind of like halfway through the Salad Sand story of the Goten and Gohan was twins. So I'm gonna try to wrap that up quick. I'm probably try to wrap that one up quick, but we ain't here for that. Everybody, we here for this story right now. So let's get into it.
Previously on What If
Like,
Piccolo
comment,
got
subscribe,
orange early,
brothers.
the Tournament of Power was a success. Though it was an incredibly hard-fought battle, Piccolo, Gohan, and the others showed everyone that trust can be achieved not only between teammates, but universes as well.
Flashback?
Goku and Vegeta continued to evolve Super Saiyan 4. A sickness or two got in the way, so you'll have to deal with my quote-unquote voice acting for this video. Either way, ever since their battle at the 23rd Tenkaichi Budokai, instantly the two of them burst into their final forms. The battle began close to Piccolo's house. It was intense, unbelievable for Piccolo to see just how much Goku had improved in such a short amount of time. This brand new state, something akin to an Ultra form as a Super Saiyan 4, was actually difficult for Piccolo to deal with. The Namekian was still the strongest of the Z fighters by quite a margin, but they were catching up quickly. Piccolo fired a heavenly special beam cannon, while Goku fired a godly Kamehameha, clashing in the middle and exploding. But once the dust settled and the fight continued, they heard someone approaching them. Strange, why couldn't they sense anyone? Just someone with a very small amount of ki. Their answer came in the form of an agitated android 17 and 16, holding Marin. They couldn't get many words out, but Goku and Piccolo got the gist of it when they said that Krillin was dead and android 18 was absorbed. The severely hurt android 16 began to explain. Early morning, before anyone woke up, a strange creature had broken into their house. Krillin and 18 were asleep when suddenly they heard screams. 18 was attacked by a monster that called himself Cell. Krillin, 16, and 17 did what they could to fight against him and get her back, but his power had increased massively. 18 told them to get Marin and escape, telling 17 that he was after him too, and he needed to escape. Now 17 and 16 were here with Marin. In reality, the Red Ribbon Army had found the Cell project near completion in the underground lab of Dr. Gero. Magenta decided to use this as the basis of a new special weapon. Hedo continued to alter him, adding more and more DNA from the present fighters. Cell, quote-unquote, Max, was extremely powerful, but the Red Ribbon Army knew that he was missing part of his power, as Dr. Gero had left notes on him. They created the Gammas to assist him in the search for 17 and 18, as Cell promised a perfect world. While 17 explained everything, Gamma 1 and Gamma 2 appeared, bursting in. They were searching for 17. He is to be arrested for treason against humanity, but they realized that Piccolo and Goku were here too, and they were even worse. 17 says that these aren't the monster that attacked him last night, but they're trying to capture him to feed him to Cell. The Gammas don't know what he's talking about exactly. They were here to arrest him. After all, the Gammas were created to be heroes for justice. The Gammas were based on Piccolo and Gohan, so they're quite a bit stronger than the ones in the original story. However, this Piccolo hadn't used his full power while on Earth, and neither had Gohan. So while they're stronger than this Goku, they're still weaker than Orange Piccolo. Meanwhile, Cell is at the Red Ribbon Army HQ. Hedo thinks that he's terrifying, but everyone around him has told him that he's just a good guy created by his grandfather. Meanwhile, Gohan trains for Ultra Instinct at Beerus' planet, while Vegeta trains with Broly. They had been trying to get him to control his power, but there is little Gohan can do while he's still having trouble with UI. They're trying to get Broly to relax, but Whis realizes that these are the same problems Gohan has had. They're trying to force something outside of his nature. The notebook Gohan carries around is full of useful notes on how Ultra Instinct works in theory. But if the point of Ultra Instinct is not to think, then what is that all good for? Gohan keeps this in mind. Meanwhile, Goku speeds off with 17, 16, and Marin, trying to keep Gamma 2 away while Gamma 1 battled Piccolo. Piccolo. While flying, Gamma 2 gets several chances to take a clean shot, and Magenta even tells him to do so, but he refuses. He doesn't want to hurt the young girl. Hedo also argues that they shouldn't do it, until finally there is a clear shot at 17. Cell and Magenta both yell at Gamma 2 to fire, and he does as told reluctantly, but Goku gets in the way and gets shot. The androids escape, while Goku and Gamma 2 stare each other down, landing near Mount Pautsu. Cell in the Red Ribbon Army perks up. That was Son Goku. Cell says that there's been a change of plans. Walking out of the HQ, Carmine yells at him to stop and wait until the android has been collected. Otherwise, he will be incomplete. Cell slaps Carmine into a wall and drains him. Everyone stays quiet in shock. What kind of monster had they freed? Suddenly, Gohan senses something incredible. His father's power had shot up to an incredible degree, and so had Piccolo's. At first, Vegeta thinks that they're probably just fighting each other, but Gohan notices that they're not together. Broly wants to come, but Vegeta argues that if he can't control his power, he'll only be a liability. Piccolo's orange state slammed Gamma 1 into a wall, telling him to stop this madness, but Gamma 1 continued to call him the Demon King. He denied being this person, but in the back of his mind, it's always bothered him. He attacked his friends when he first got this power after Namek.
That is
true.
He
saw Piccolo's face in the wall paintings. It was his fault. The was nearly doomed. With his anger rising and denying that he is the Demon King, Piccolo launches a powerful punch of pure Genki at Gamma 1, launching him across the sky. Meanwhile, Goku was struggling against Gamma 2, who blasted him down in front of Grandpa Gohan's house. Goku got back up, but Gamma 2 was taken aback as Cell appeared.
I'll take it from here.
But
go find 17 and bring him to me.
Gamma 2 froze as he watched Cell take slow steps towards Goku. He gulped and rushed
off.
Goku
looked
up to see the horrendous side of Cell. He had dreamed about this situation for many years, slowly developing to be the ultimate challenge for Son Goku. But at this point, he wasn't his ultimate challenge. I don't even know who you are.
But you knew my father, Dr. Gero.
Goku was surprised, but he opened his aura to push Cell off as the fight continued. Cell needed Goku's new power. His dirty tactics and strange movements that both resembled Piccolo and himself slowly weathered him down. He appeared and disappeared, striking every way he could. Goku's new state kept up for a while, but it slowly ran out until finally Cell threw a punch, which Goku avoided. But at the same time, Cell pierced him with his stinger, obtaining energy from Goku as he was forced back down into Super Saiyan 4. Cell was powered up even further. Goku and Vegeta's new forms were still very experimental, and he had already used up some of it during the battles against Piccolo and Gamma 2. Gamma 1's battle against Piccolo began to turn, with Piccolo managing to push up the android and crush him down as Piccolo asked what they wanted. Gamma said that they were all evil, and that Cell, along with the Gammas, would become a suit of armor around the world. But that he wasn't planning on killing 17, just arresting him. Piccolo was confused. Gamma 1 threw a punch, but Piccolo slammed his head against Gamma's, finally knocking him out. At the same time, Cell held up Goku by the neck, but a flash of light slammed Cell across the battlefield. It was Gohan, Vegeta, and Whis. Whis floated down with a smile, saying that he'll be back later. But for now, this is their fight. The android knew he was outnumbered. Without his perfect body, he wouldn't stand a chance. But he was smart.
Are you sure you want to worry about me now? After all, my fellow androids were attacking Piccolo at 17.
17 and 16 had retreated to West City, where at least they could leave Marin at Capsule Corp with Goten and Trunks. But Goten realized that if these androids were fighting, then surely his father wouldn't be able to sense where he was in order to help. Goten, Trunks, and even Marin, with her limited ki training from her dad and mom, charged their ki to the max, alerting Vegeta to their location.
Let me give you a hand.
And punched Vegeta across the face. Cell then spun on his heel and released a potent solar flare that allowed him to scurry away. Vegeta was actually sent flying across the planet and towards West City, breaking through buildings and causing explosions through the city. Vegeta swore to kill him. He saw the Gamma fight in the distance, quickly bursting towards it, while 17 argued that the real heroes wouldn't have blasted someone holding a young girl, nor attacked a family while they slept. This made Gamma 2 question the actions of the Red Ribbon Army for a moment. He was sure that he wanted justice, but Cell, his twisted view of a perfect world, worried him. When Vegeta arrived, he ordered 17 to instead go defend the kids in Bulma, to take them far away. Gamma 2 rolled his eyes. He was tired of switching opponents. Why are they so dead set on defending the traitors? Oh wait, this was Vegeta, another alien invader. Vegeta transformed into his ultimate state, and the fight resumed. It was clear that Gamma 2 had the upper hand at first, but having fought 17 and Goku had severely depleted his his power. Meanwhile, Piccolo had arrived at Mount Paozu while carrying Gamma 1. He was clearly hurt, but not as much as Goku. Gohan realized that Goten rising his ki must have alerted Cell to where 17 was as well, so that's where they must be headed. The trio rushed towards the area with Gamma 1, who finally turns back on the way. But instead of attacking, he is left in shock as Dr. Hedo yells at the androids from the communicator. Cell was about to destroy the city. Dr. Hedo had realized that this was all a great mistake and had used Hachimaru to kill Magenta. He was now on the way. They needed to stop Cell.
Come out, Android 17, or you'll be responsible for the destruction of this city.
Hedo yelled at Cell from the HQ to stop this. Gamma 2...
I actually like this. I like this twist of the Cell. He pretty much combining the actual Cell arc with the superhero arc. This is fire. I ain't gonna lie. Smugstick, you be doing your thing, brother. You be doing your thing, man. I know you be watching the reaction, so shout out to you, bro. You be doing your thing.
Blasted Vegeta away from him, but rather than continuing the combo, he stops as he spots a Cell above the city, Keyball in hand. Vegeta and Gamma 2 both turn to rush away and stop Cell, but it's too late. The small Keyball drops to the ground and the entire city is decimated. All of the fighters, no matter how far away, were pushed off. Even Gohan and the others, who were still considerably further away. Cell sighed in disappointment. That was a beautiful city. He wouldn't have had to destroy it if 17 just gave himself up. Then Goku, Piccolo, and the others would be the only ones who would have to die. No civilians. Gamma 1 stood from the explosion, which Gohan had shielded the others away from. Gamma 1 realized that he had made a mistake. Reluctantly, he agreed to fight alongside the Z fighters. Further away, 1716, Marin, Goten, Trunks, and Bulma all watched the explosions. Ash and tears began to drop as they realized that West City was gone.
Damn.
17 cursed. If he gave himself up, would this all end? 16 told him not to talk like this. Krillin and 18 gave their lives up so they could live.
Come on, 17. I know you're not weak enough to die like that. I will continue to destroy every city until you show up again.
Cell pointed his hand outward, and with a single blast, that city far off exploded. Cell realized
Where are
then
the
that he could
Z-fighters?
sense a set of fighters flying away. He couldn't sense the androids, but it seemed like they were with Goten and Trunks. He began their way, while still blasting off various cities in order to try and corner them. Meanwhile, 17 sensed the deaths of millions. He decided that losing all these human and animal lives just wasn't worth it. He would have to give himself in, but he wouldn't do it without a fight. Goten and Trunks wanted to join him, but 17 told them to stay with Bulma instead, to protect Marin and 16. It was their responsibility to take them to the
17, go out like a G,
Without
nigga.
another word, he left them. Then, another blast shot outwards. This time, it passed over Gohan and the others. His heart skipped a beat. Judging by the trajectory of it, it was heading towards Satan's city. Without thinking, Gohan let go of his father and burst out to stop the blast. Thankfully, Gohan intercepted the blast right as it reached Satan's city, catching it and slowly pushing it back. He was forced into Super Saiyan Blue evolution to finally bounce it into the atmosphere, where it finally exploded. But Cell cocked an eyebrow when he saw the explosion. Looks like he needed to try again, releasing the last few blasts. They swooshed past 17 as he arrived before Cell. Looks like he finally came to his senses. His sacrifice will bring about a more beautiful and perfect world. One that can stop the likes of the Demon King and the Saiyans. 17 laughed. Piccolo and the others have always defended Earth, and they will continue to do so. For the animals, for the plants, for the humans. He was confident of that.
Don't you see? Defending Earth is my duty.
17 rushed in one last time. Meanwhile, Gohan rushed down to find Pan and Videl. Gohan made sure that they were okay as he hugged them, but Videl pointed out that another blast was coming their way. He wouldn't be able to stop it this time, and he was sorry he had no time to find anyone else. He covered his family and rushed out of there as fast as possible. Satan's city was destroyed. Back with Cell, there was nothing 17 could do. His power, after taking Goku's energy and absorbing 18, was too much. Finally, Goku and the others arrived, only to see a near-death 17 fighting for his life. Gamma 1 and Gamma 2 yelled at Cell to stop this madness, that this isn't something a hero would do. But Cell argues otherwise. A hero would rid the world of all these pests that have polluted the world. They wouldn't have to fear monsters like him, he said, pointing to Piccolo, the Demon King, who brought about more danger to the world than any other. Goku and Vegeta burst into Super Saiyan 4, while Piccolo transformed into Orange. But 17 yelled at them to just fire and kill him instead, that this is their chance to stop all of this. Goku and Piccolo weren't sure, but Vegeta takes the chance to fire a final shine attack just as he watches Cell appear behind 17, his tail opening and absorbing him. The giant explosion from the blast makes them wonder if they stopped Cell, but no. The burst of energy that was released created a key ball around Cell full of energy and electricity that collapsed the ocean beneath them, creating something of a vacuum. Natural disasters began to occur all over the world as Gohan protected his family. He rushed them to Dende's lookout, where at the very least they would be safe with Goten and the others. Cell admired himself, his perfect body, the ultimate being. Just like Earth, he was beautiful, eager to test this new power. The Gammas were the first to attack, but neither their blasters nor their punches could do anything against Cell. Cell spun, slicing his wings across the Gamma and creating slices through the sky to force them away. He followed suit as the rest of the Z-Fighters hurried to continue the fight. Goku and Vegeta did everything they could, combining their Kamehameha and Gallic Gun into one ultimate blast that managed to push Cell back for a second, but he revealed that he was just testing himself. He wasn't using his full power just yet. But while he explained this, Gohan appeared behind him, focusing his entire power to the palm of his hand and slicing across his body, actually cutting Cell in half. For a split second, it seemed like they won. Gohan panted, but Cell's legs spun and kicked him into the rubbles of the city. Strings of pink goo came out from the legs and attached onto the body, connecting them back up. Cell smirked.
Thanks to Piccolo and Boo's DNA, I am unstoppable. Originally, I thought it was just the Saiyans and the Demon King, but I see now that it's all of humanity. The only innocents are the animals and the plants. I will be a hero for them.
In a flash, he appeared in front of Super Saiyan 4 Goku and Vegeta, slamming them into the ground. He then appeared in front of Piccolo, but the Namekian actually reacted, avoiding the attack and firing a blast. Cell responded by swatting it away, and then blaming the Demon King once an island exploded. See? This
just exploded a bunch of the island,
he says. Clearly he had brainwashed everyone. He expected this from the Saiyans, but not his android brothers. How shameful. Gohan and Piccolo rushed in together to continue the attack, and Cell finally had to actually try and defend himself. The two were now in sync.
Your blood runs through my veins, Demon King. I know what you're capable of. Don't you agree, Gohan? You remember when he attacked your friends, the fear he bestowed upon you?
Cell pointed his finger outwards, firing blasts that pinned down the pair. Gohan and Piccolo freed themselves, as every one of the Z-Fighters joined in the battle. In response, Cell expanded his aura. They couldn't reach him at all, and they were simply crushed under the pressure and into the ground. What once used to be West City was now nothing more than a desert. Cell looks around. Millions have died just because these aliens refused to put aside their ego and see the perfect world Cell wanted as a true possibility.
The sacrifices I make for you humans. Bury your dead. Heal yourselves. You have 2 days. I want to protect this beautiful world, but I also want to beat you at your best. You monster! Am I a monster for wanting to protect the Earth? You are the one standing in the way of this world's perfection. Quite hypocritical of you, Demon King. In fact, I will not be holding the battle here. After I kill Dende, I will need a new set of Dragon Balls to truly restore the planet. Might as well start now.
Cell lifts a finger while pointing towards Capsule Corp's destroyed building. He pulls the Super Dragon Radar with force.
I remember when you had another tournament, brother. It is decided then. This battle will be held in that Super Dragon Ball. Appropriate, isn't it, Earth's Guardian?
As he said this, Dr. Hedo's craft zoomed towards them, crashing before Cell. Please, Cell! That's enough! The civilians don't deserve this!
Oh, my dear Dr. Hedo. I thought you'd understand, but in the end, you're no Jiro.
Cell fired a small blast his direction, which Gamma 2 saved him from.
Enough stalling. I will leave this world to find our battle site. You prepare yourself, but don't get any funny ideas. I know what you're thinking.
Cell pointed his finger towards the sacred lands of Korin. No. He's aiming for the lookout! Taking advantage of the fact that Cell cannot sense the Gammas, Gamma 1 appeared behind him and placed him in a full Nelson. Gamma 1 told everyone to get away and run, save their friends, and get out of there. He was going to take Cell down with him. Gamma 2 cried out for his brother, but Gamma 1 smiled at him, saying that this is what a true hero would do. Hedo is now his responsibility. An intense amount of energy began to gather around Gamma 1. The Z fighters made it to the lookout as they watched the incredible explosion go off in the distance. Gohan ran to Pan and Videl, as did Vegeta with Bulma, Trunks, and Bra. 16 and Marin looked at Piccolo for confirmation about Android 17, but he shook his head in denial. The young girl cried. Gamma 2 couldn't stand around without knowing for certain what happened to his brother. He burst out from the lookout to go and find him, only to quickly stop. He watched as a blast came towards the lookout. Cell was still alive. Gamma 2 quickly returned and tried to shield everyone, but just as he did, Kaioshin appeared from above with Kibito, yelling at them all to link hands. They did as told, with Dende barely grabbing onto Popo as they were teleported away. The lookout was consumed by the blast and decimated.
The Kais finally did it.
Remained, holding on to
the Kais finally actually did something to help the fucking universe. Oh my gosh. They didn't wait till fucking niggas die. Well, niggas already did. God.
The Super Dragon Ball Radar.
All about
when
the
Gamma
fucking
1
Kais.
grabbed him, Cell created a barrier around himself to protect him and the Dragon Radar. Yet, Cell smiled. For the first time in a long time, the world was freed from these aliens, these monsters, and above all, the Demon King. The Z fighters landed on planet Namek after being saved by Shin. They all thought it was hopeless. Even if they wished for Earth to be restored, they can't stand up to Cell. But Goku was curious. They all thought Cell went extremely hurt already. If they trained for the time they did have and recovered, maybe they stood a chance. Piccolo tried to hold on to hope like that, but he just couldn't. He thought of an idea. Porunga unleashed his power before. What if he could do it again? Murray wasn't sure, but they did have the Dragon Balls ready for them. Gamma 2 and Hedo apologized to everyone for what happened and swore to make it right. Gamma 1's death wouldn't be in vain. Whis soon arrived with Broly. He explained everything he saw, and that watching his friends be hurt like that made Broly nearly explode. Vegeta and the others maintained that until Broly could control himself, he shouldn't be in, but Whis said that he was just there to spectate and to support his friends. Goku and Vegeta asked Whis if they could train them all during the time they had, and Whis agreed, only because he found this situation most interesting. They would do it on Namek, since Beerus was upset at Broly going crazy for a second. But first, Piccolo summoned Porunga.
Porunga, I wish you to unleash my power once more. That wish is beyond my power. I have already bestowed upon you the potential you had. It is up to you to reach it. Everything you need, plus a little extra, remains within you.
It was too dangerous to restore Earth now. With a regretful sigh, Murray dismissed Porunga. The Z fighters continued to train with Whis. Goku and Vegeta were sent off into his staff, where they had to battle against Zamasu. For once, he was actually glad to see different beings. Meanwhile, Gamma 2, Gohan, and Piccolo trained with Broly, and the training did prove to make them stronger. Thankfully, the Namekians healed them whenever they needed. Videl and Pan watched Gohan train diligently. Even in the downtime, he'd read all of the notes about Ultra Instinct. He was still trying to achieve it. He thought perhaps it could be the key to defeating Cell. It was a long shot, but it was worth a try. He was just glad to have his family with him. But Gohan noticed that Piccolo wasn't training with the others anymore. He had a suspicion that he knew where he would be. The half Saiyan made his way towards the cave. Piccolo sits, meditating before the cave painting. He knew now that this painting wasn't of Lord Slug, but of himself and maybe even Gohan. Still, there was a darkness about it. Cell had called him the Demon King over and over again, reminding him of all his mistakes. He tried to deny that he was that Demon King, but he couldn't deny the ruin that he'd brought Earth. Gohan sat down by his old master, who insisted that he was ready for battle. Even so, Gohan continued to annoy him about it. Eventually, Piccolo explained what was bothering him.
My blood runs through Cell's veins. So many deaths have been caused because of my choices. Perhaps I am the Demon King he says I am.
Don't say that about yourself, buddy. Come on.
That's something we have to come to terms with. He is the worst of all of us put together. Cell is right about one thing. You are the Demon King. You are the reincarnation of him. And above all, you're my friend. Piccolo thought this was old corny, but Gohan often was. Even so, that was a part of his life he had long since suppressed. You think too much, Mr. Piccolo. We always figure things out.
And you think too little. You're still that runt kid deep inside.
But as they are about to walk out, a trio of mutated Namekians stood at the entrance. Piccolo cocks an eyebrow as the middle one steps up.
Piccolo. When Lord Slug kidnapped us, we thought he had taken all that made us Namekian away. but you showed us otherwise. For that reason, we want to help you. Accept us as your tribute. Allow us to merge with you.
The three Namekians kneeled before Piccolo. He was taken aback. These Namekians had their lives taken from them once before. He couldn't do it again.
We are sure. Please.
Piccolo placed a hand on his shoulder, telling him to stand up.
I know what you're giving up, and I promise to return the favor. But I will not accept you as tribute, but as my brothers.
The three Namekians merged with Piccolo in a bright light, electricity swarming around him.
Okay.
They had been powered up greatly by Lord Slug, so it was a significant increase. But would it be enough to defeat Cell? With a look towards the Z Fighters, Piccolo smiled.
Ready?
Ready. Oh, this is going to be the most amusing. Come on, everyone, into the cube. Cell awaited at the center of the ring. The Super Dragon Ball had been converted by Cell into a battleground.
I guess he
Around
could
the
fight
middle
through
Dragon
space, but
Ball,
how the
the
fuck
other
did he
Super
get
Dragon
there?
Balls floated.
Welcome. The stage is set for me to cleanse the universe of evil like you. So, who will step up to the ring first?
Me.
I ain't gonna lie, if there's something I will give Cell, nigga, especially in the original Cell arc in Dragon Ball Z, the way that nigga sat there, how many, it was like, what, 7 days? Or something, 5 days, whatever it was, a week? And that nigga sat there, arms folded, the whole time, just waiting for a nigga to fight that motherfucker. I ain't gonna lie, that was the most coldest shit ever, nigga. That's why Cell arc is always a legendary arc. Legendary arc.
Everyone tried to tell Gamma-2 to stop, to leave this to Piccolo and the others, who had grown to be stronger, but he refused. He had to do this for his brother. Sadly, the battle against Cell did not go in his favor. At first, it seemed like Cell was equal to Gamma-2, but to Gohan, Piccolo, Goku, and Vegeta, it was clear that he was just measuring how far he could take the android. Gamma-2 tried his best, pulling out every trick under his sleeve. The little training they did have with Whis actually showed promise. Goten and Trunks even thought that he could do it. But in the end, Cell smashed his fist against Gamma-2's stomach, sending him out of bounds.
Jiro's androids were always superior. Who is next?
Vegeta cracked his knuckles, but Piccolo extended his arm out before him.
We aren't playing your games anymore. This isn't a tournament. We're going to defeat you now.
They all burst their auras in unison, rushing towards Cell. The whole team was impressive, especially Goku and Vegeta's new state, which Cell commended. Even so, every time they sliced part of him off, he would just regenerate. Cell wanted to save his full power for his most desired fight. All the spots on his body glowed orange. Gohan was in the middle of a struggle against Cell, and upon seeing this, Vegeta rushed in and appeared before the half Saiyan. Cell's spots fired orange blasts, drawing upon the power of Orange Piccolo.
Oh,
Gohan
shit.
wouldn't have been able to dodge it in the position he was in, and Vegeta took the brunt of the attack, rendering his arm unusable. Everyone else was pushed away thanks to this. Gohan thanked Vegeta, who responded by saying not to thank him yet. It's clear his mind isn't where it should be. He needs to snap out of it and think only about the fight. But Cell's ki began to rise further and further. They all prepared themselves for an explosion which never came, as instead, from his tail, several smaller Cell Jr. creatures appeared.
Shit.
The creatures quickly snapped forward and spread out to the various fighters. Their power wasn't comparable to Cell's, but it was impressive enough for all the Z fighters to struggle. The only one who wasn't attacked by a Cell Jr. was Piccolo, whom Cell stared down.
Well, brother, shall we begin? The battle to end the reign of the Demon King. I'm no Demon King, and this isn't your battle to win.
Orange Piccolo and Perfect Cell meet in the middle of the
Okay,
ring,
they boxing.
beginning
I
the
love it.
battle. The clash instantly rocks the other Super Dragon Balls.
What's wrong, Piccolo? Show me that Namekian pride. You were doing better against Gamma 1.
Goku and Vegeta were doing the best against the creatures, but the strange tricks inherited from Cell made them difficult to deal with. Gohan threw a punch to one of them, but instead of avoiding it, the creature split itself in two smaller Cell Juniors and attacked, then reunited back up for one blast. Goku and Vegeta worked together and burst through a pair to defeat them. A double Ozaru punch in their new Super Saiyan 5 states made sure to take them down, but they seemed never ending. Goku and Vegeta were already in a bad spot, especially having to defend Goten and Trunks, who were the weakest of the crew. Meanwhile, Cell
y'all need to
vs.
keep the
Piccolo
train.
was much more of an equal fight, with him admitting that his power had certainly increased since the last time they saw each other, but it wouldn't be enough. Piccolo thought he was bluffing, attacking with all his might. He couldn't fail. They had all placed their hopes on him. With one gigantic roar, Piccolo placed all of his energy into the palm of his hand, charging a gigantic key ball, bursting forward to slam it into Cell. Piccolo, but the android dissolved himself around it. Namekian couldn't believe it and couldn't stop it as Cell appeared behind him and kicked Piccolo down into the ground, the keyball on the palm of his hand slamming into the floor and creating a huge explosion, leaving a crater beneath them. It blew all the other fighters out of the way, even the Cell Juniors, but the small creatures remained. Even hurt or their body parts missing, they stood back up and run in to continue the fight. Gohan wiped some blood off his mouth, looking up to see Piccolo fighting harder than ever before. Him and Cell were caught in an epic clash back and forth. As Piccolo began to grow in size, so did Cell, until the two towering figures crushed the stage beneath them. It didn't matter. Cell was having the time of his life, but he knew it was nearly time to end it. Broly couldn't stand to watch his friends being hurt like this. Thanks to the training with Whis, he was at least restraining himself, but he knew if he did anything else, he would explode in rage and anger. He was the only one there intact. He could help them. He had grown stronger too. Broly turned to look at Whis. He couldn't stand it anymore. Whis didn't like it either, so he finally said, "I know you're holding back. I'll give you 3 minutes. Got that?" Broly nodded, and the second Whis undid the protecting barrier around them. Broly exploded in power and rushed down to the Cell Juniors, even stronger than when he fought Goku and Vegeta. Full power Super Saiyan Broly rampages through the Cell Juniors, demolishing them in an instant and freeing his friends. But he was rampaging out of control, flying to attack both Piccolo and Cell, firing a mouth blast at all the giants that nearly toppled them over. Cell responded by swatting them away and bringing him down, annoying pests. But Broly's power wouldn't subside, even if he was below Cell and Piccolo. As he rose up to attack again, Whis appeared behind and chopped the back of his neck, smiling at Piccolo. "Thank you, Broly. I think they've got it from here." At the very least, the threat of the Cell Juniors was done, but that seriously annoyed Cell. He had his fun. It was time to finish it.
It's over, Demon King. I am no Demon King. I am not my father.
Cell began to put his full force onto Piccolo,
Piccolo.
forcing him down to the ground. "You have lost." In a flash of orange light, Cell released a wave of energy that consumed that area. Piccolo's scream echoed as nothing but a crater was left where the arena once stood. Cell floated over it with a sadistic smile, holding the body of Piccolo. Earth was freed. His beautiful, perfect planet was within his grasp. "The Demon King is dead," Goten and Trunks cried out.
Quiet! From this day forth, I am the Earth's guardian. Sadly, the rest of you will have to perish. Though, they have Saiyans I'm curious about. I don't wish to keep the humans around for much longer, but I could use your power. It is your choice. Join me or die. You are part human. I can hardly blame you fully for the sins of your Saiyan side. Gohan, you surely understand. I know you love the life in our planet as much as me.
Gohan began to take steps forward, with Vegeta and Trunks yelling at him to stop, but Goku quieted them down.
I knew you'd understand.
No, you're wrong. It doesn't matter if Piccolo is gone, because he's still with us. He will always be. His death isn't in vain, Cell, because we still have people waiting for us. My mother, Krillin 1817. Gohan's aura began to flare up, but Cell fired a death beam at his leg to knock him down. He then pointed a death beam at Piccolo.
What a shame. I thought that you would understand me the most.
Piccolo coughed.
Oh, looks like he's still alive.
Gohan tried to stand up again and take steps forward, but Cell fired another death beam.
How can you defend this monster? He has threatened the world more times than any other being.
Can't
you see that?
You're wrong. Your twisted sense of justice doesn't know the nuances of humanity. Piccolo has risked his life for the world. For us. Gohan was trying to think of what to do. He was remembering all of his master's teachings. If only he could access that Ultra Instinct power one last time. But previously, it didn't work for him. Why would it now? Not thinking never worked for him. Think, don't think. Think, don't think. Think, don't think. Think, don't think.
Come
on,
man.
At the same time, Piccolo listens to Cell talk, calling him the Demon King, a monster, the destroyer of worlds.
I'm not a demon. I'm not my father. I'm not a demon. I'm not my father.
Think, don't think. Think, don't think. Think, don't think. One more blast destroys the notebook in his belt. Gohan falls to the ground, watching the paper burn before him. Everything he had written and learned about Ultra Instinct lost. Yet Gohan tries to stand up one last time, as Piccolo shifts his eyes to look at him in between Cell's fingers. Think, don't think. Think, don't think.
I am not. What was that? Mustered up the power to talk. I am not.
You tried to take over in his name. His blood runs through our
Come
veins.
on, Gohan.
I am not a demon. I am not my father. I am not a demon. I am not my father.
I need to think of something.
I need to show him who I really am. Enough!
Both of these thoughts were interrupted as Cell finally threw Piccolo to the ground along with a key ball, burying him deep in the crater. Their breaths were taken away. It seemed as if he was really gone. Now it was Gohan's turn. If he stopped thinking and just exploded, maybe he could do it. Cell lifted a finger one last time. He is about to fire his final death beam when Goku burst out in front of his son, ready to take the blast for him. He could not allow his son to be hurt any longer. There was a blinding light. Gohan didn't know what happened. Had he been struck? Was his father okay? His eyes slowly cleared. That's when he realized the blast wasn't moving. Goku was in place. No one was reacting. Time wasn't stopped. Gohan was just thinking too fast. He was thinking too much. He was thinking of every possible way he could save them. His eyes shifted to the only person who could look back at him, Whis. He smiled. Gohan was a true prodigy. He cheated and thought his way into Ultra Instinct. In a flash, not only was the blast gone, but Gohan had appeared before Cell and punched him in the stomach. This felt so much more natural than the first time he accessed Ultra Instinct. Instead of pure instinct and no thought, it was entirely thought. Everyone looked at him, his silver hair, the purple electricity around him. Cell didn't stand a chance. Gohan was outsmarting his computer. He needed extreme focus to do this. Each strike had to be perfect. Every punch resounded with a thunder strike, a storm of electricity covering his punches. Cell was pushed back, but he knew if he was to win, he needed to stop this assault. Cell took the millisecond he had to breathe to fire a blast into multiple directions. Gohan easily dodged every single one of them, even stopping blasts from hitting his friends. Gohan burst forward to Cell, but he missed one. Gamma 2 was struck, and he groaned in pain. He wasn't out, but it was enough to catch Gohan's attention. His version of Ultra Instinct needed complete focus in its early stages, and now that Gohan was distracted for that split second, Cell got the chance to strike Gohan in the stomach. That incredible burst of Ultra Instinct had taken a lot out of him, but it did make Cell desperate. But Gohan wasn't out of it yet. He looked back at Cell, focusing once more, his aura flaring up.
No Saiyan, no human, no demon will stand in the way of my perfect Earth. If that Namekian had accepted who he really was, your suffering would have been less. You'll meet him in hell.
But as Cell rose up, he noticed Gohan smirk, crossing his arms. Perhaps he knew his Ultra Instinct could dodge anything he threw at him. But no, it wasn't that. An intense heat was burning behind, as from the crater rose Piccolo once more. But it wasn't just any Piccolo. It was a being made entirely of Genki, with the sign of the Ajiza tree glowing behind him. His voice wasn't just Piccolo's, but Kami, Neo, and the Namekian warriors. Even the Demon King Piccolo.
I am who you say I am, and much more. I am Namek's warrior. I am the Earth's guardian, and I am the Demon King. We are Piccolo.
Cell took a step back, but an explosion nearly destroyed his arm. He turned to the side to realize that he was completely surrounded by key mines. I was thinking too far ahead for you to keep up with me. I know I can't maintain Ultra Instinct forever, so I left myself some insurance.
It's over.
Piccolo threw a punch with imperceptible speed. Cell had no chance to avoid it, as he was sent hurling into a key mine, with the rest of them converging into a single spot and exploding up to the sky. Cell had a mere moment to open a shield to defend himself, but even still, the explosion crushed it. Once the smoke began to clear, Cell's rage reached its apex. He was falling apart, needing to regenerate, but his hopes were slashed, as from the smoke, a shining beacon of hope shone. Piccolo and Gohan side by side, the tips of their fingers full of energy, as they fired a twin special beam cannon. Behind them, the roar of Shenron was heard, his wings spreading wide. The Super Dragon Balls shone around them, as if they themselves left their hopes with Piccolo and Gohan, with the twin blasts swirling around each other and completely consuming Cell. The beams reached as far as the eye could see. Namek, Cereal, Earth, they all could see that shining light in the sky. Cell was gone. It was finally done. But the Super Dragon Ball beneath them began to shake. Whis told everyone to get in the cube, as, without anyone summoning him, Super Shenron burst from the Super Dragon Balls. Whis asked what their wish should be, to return Earth to normal? As they discussed, Piccolo rose up and spoke the language of the gods.
Dragon God, Thank you for your help. My final wish is to restore things to the way they were before Cell's attack, and to allow those within me free.
The wish was granted. Earth was restored and the people returned. Piccolo's body glowed even further, as if something was being pulled out of him. The image of an Namekian, a powerful force which made even Whis cocked an eyebrow, appearing before them all as he nodded, dissolving into 6 separate beings. 3 were the mutated Namekians that he had fused with. They couldn't believe they were alive and out of Piccolo. He thanked them for their help and that their power proved useful. The other 3 figures remained shrouded by light. Piccolo had also asked for Nail and Kami to be freed, that he would grow on his own, but that last figure was King Piccolo. Their voices were heard.
We are one, Piccolo. Through you, we can protect life and understand humanity. Yes, thank you all.
Those 3 figures disappeared back into Piccolo, having accepted him long ago as their home. Goten, Gohan, and Trunks jumped into a big hug. Goku chuckled with Vegeta as Gamma 2 looked out towards the universe. Dr. Hedo would be proud of all these heroes. With peace returned and the Super Dragon Ball spread, the cube teleported back to planet Namek. Everyone cheered, rushing in to hug their friends. Murray was surprised to see the mutated Namekians out of Piccolo, but glad to have them back. The Z-Fighters have always been a little beacon of hope. Things would always turn alright, as long as they had them. Whis was impressed by everyone, and was excited to see how they would progress from then on. But more than anyone, he was impressed by Gohan and Piccolo. He knew how much they struggled through this, mentally and physically. For Gohan, he had to force and adapt Ultra Instinct into something that worked for him. Though it's not exactly the same. Gohan called it something like Ultra Intuition, which Whis appreciated. He was a really interesting person. Piccolo, on the other hand, was forced to accept that King Piccolo truly was a part of him, that they are one and the same, just like he was with Kami. Once he accepted him, he was able to push himself forward. Now they could return to Earth and use the Dragon Balls to rebuild. With Gamma 2 and Dr. Hedo getting invited to work at Capsule Corp, Trunks and Bulma promised that they would do what they can to rebuild Gamma 1. Goku and Vegeta were excited to continue training with Whis, even if they had to beat up Zamasu again. But as he turned to look at Gohan and Piccolo and asked them what they would do next, Gohan was the one that replied, "They have to take care of other things for now. Let Goku and Vegeta have the spotlight." Vegeta rolled his eyes, and so the team returned to Earth. But they were eager to test out what they were made of. Nearby Piccolo's home, Videl, Pan, Goku, and Vegeta all sat around, watching as Gohan and Piccolo showed off their new strength, with Gohan saying this takes him way back to the young boy he was long ago. Piccolo scoffed back. He really wasn't that different from back then. After all, sometimes he still needs someone to drop an apple off so he can eat. That's when Gohan realized an apple always ended up on his desk. He always assumed that it was Videl that put it there, but now he realized, just like when he was a kid, Piccolo left apples for him.
That's fire.
He smiled, getting ready to begin this final battle. And so, several hundred years passed. Gohan had become a published author because, although his notes on Ultra Instinct were in that notebook, he also had a large part of it written on his computer. He had to fix a spelling mistake when he misspelled thought. But in the end, that book, The Science of Ki Control, became a huge hit and reinvigorated the world of martial arts, including the World Tournament, as we watch a young Saiyan and a Namekian step up to the ring. The final match for the World Tournament. They may not be entirely aware, but their ancestors stood in this very stage. And now, the legacy continues. The Son family and the Piccolo lineage linked forevermore.
Okay. I don't know what the fuck. What game is this? Old ass game, I'll tell you that, boy. What the fuck?
The end.
Hey man, let's get it up for Smugstick. I'm sorry, Smugstick for this video, man. That was a fire story, bro. You did your thing, man. Hey, you there. I love how you did this chapter right here. This was fire as hell. Man. Let me know what story y'all want me to react to next by Smugstick or anybody, you know what I'm saying? I got somebody I'm supposed to be reacting to that's new, that I haven't watched yet. I didn't do a major dragon one too. I'm supposed to be watching one of his too, so but anyway, let me know how y'all feel about the story down below. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'll catch y'all next time. Peace.